This episode of Lawyers Tell All is brought to you by the Intake Academy. Are you ready to convert more callers to qualified cases, rapidly qualify good cases, and transform unqualified prospects to advocates for your firm, whether you're able to handle their case or not? Visit www.intakeacademy.com and discover how to cement relationships with more of your ideal clients. Get them to commit to you and send you more referrals than you ever thought possible. Welcome to the Lawyers Tell All podcast, where Chris Mullins, the preeminent sales and communications consultant in the legal industry, shows you how it looks through lawyers' eyes. Here, innovators in the trenches provide powerful insights that help you connect with new clients, handle the sometimes harsh realities of the legal profession, and embrace the mindsets needed to succeed. Be sure to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, lean in, tune in, and let's take a deep dive.
Hello, everyone. It's Chris Mullins with Lawyers Tell All, and today I am interviewing RJon Robbins with How to Manage a Small Law Firm. RJon, go ahead. Tell everybody about yourself and your promises.
I only work in my business about 90 days per year, and most of our, maybe not most, I would say a fairly impressive percentage of the 600 law firms that we manage, the owners regularly take off for 30 consecutive days with emergency access only, and they get their business working for them. And behind me is how they do it. So I'll be happy to share that lesson too. Okay. There's a great book that everyone should read. I did not write this great book that everyone should read. The great book that everyone should read is called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. Mike asked me to write the lawyer companion version of that book, and I couldn't figure out how to wrap my head around writing this book, even though I was implementing it in my business. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the law firms that we manage, we help them implement it in their business. I sat down in 9 days. I wrote every single word of this book myself in 9 days, Profit First for Lawyers. And basically this book is it's a call to arms. It's a rallying cry, right? It's everything you need to convince your bookkeeper and convince your accountant and convince your partners and convince anyone in your life, implement Profit First. Profit First works for personal injury law firms. It works for family law firms. It works for criminal defense law firms. It works for family law. Every practice area you can imagine, it just plain works. If you're not completely convinced that you should implement Profit First, read my book, Profit First for Lawyers. It'll convince you that you should then read and implement Mike Michalowicz's. It's super, super, super simple. This is it in a nutshell, right? If you're walking down the street and you find $1, yeah? You take a percentage of that dollar and you stick it into your profit account, and then you take a percentage of that dollar and you stick it into your taxes on profit account, right? So you start off with 1%. You got $1 million business. You're grossing around $83,000 a year. A month. $83,000 a month. 1% of $83,000 a month is $833 a month, right? Your business is not going to miss it if you take 1% and stick it in profits and 0.5% more and stick it in taxes. So 1.5%. Your business won't miss it, right? You do that for a few months and then you ratchet it up to 2%. Then you do that for a few months and you ratchet it up to 3%. You do that for a few months. Pretty soon, you're taking your money first. Because if you don't take your money first, your employees, your vendors, everyone is going to take theirs, and you are going to be left making excuses and apologies to your family. I know this from personal experience because I've waited till the end of the line. So take your profits first. Yes, 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 you can. But what about my practice area? Yes, it'll work in your practice area. But what if I'm losing money? Well, if you're losing if you're going to lose $100,000 in a month, is it really going to make a difference to your business if you lose $100,000 or $105,000? No, it will not. but it will make a difference to your family. It will make a difference to your mindset. And then
Right.
you'll be there as a better, saner, more rational, more fully present version of yourself because your family is not at risk. You're able to think more clearly and make better, more rational decisions about your business. So there it is. Profit first. I have a podcast, Profit First for Lawyers. Everyone go listen to it. Read the
Yeah.
book, buy it on Amazon.
Right.
There's Profit First. Literally, you
Yeah.
literally just decide yes or yes.
Pay yourself first, bottom line.
Pay yourself first, bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. That's literally how you
Yeah.
force the business to be profitable.
And I would imagine some people are listening like, oh, come on, don't you have anything else better than that? And the thing is, like, it might sound like simple and not like this crazy sexy thing, but it's really what works. It's really the first thing that you have to, I mean, you got to do
That's
it.
why I wrote this book, because it's not that simple. Because what happens when you force the business to give you your profits first, all of a sudden, all kinds of problems start coming to the surface that were lurking below the surface, right? All of a sudden, you start discovering that you've got vendors who aren't performing. You start figuring out that you've got employees who are not keeping up with their key performance indicators. You start figuring out, here, this will be near and dear to your heart. You start discovering that your intake systems suck and your intake people are taking profits away from you because but when you force the business to pay you your money first, you starve the business intentionally and you force each of the 7 main parts of your business to step up and perform. Otherwise, you got to make some really tough decisions, which, that how selective you are in who you will and won't accept as a client, right?
Yeah.
And people who lack the internal fortitude to hold their staff accountable, people who are trying to get their love, people who are trying to get their security, people who are trying to get their self-esteem from their staff, or their love and their security and their self-esteem from their vendors, or their love and their security and self-esteem from their clients. Well, when you take profit first, it forces you to face a lot of these uncomfortable issues, which requires some backbone. So it's not just the mechanism is very simple, but by implementing this mechanism, it forces a lot of issues to the surface that aren't so easy to deal with, which is why most people don't deal with it, which is precisely why most lawyers, their law firms are not nearly as profitable as they could be, as they should be, if only they would face these issues. So there it is, profit first.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Before we go to the calendar, just you threw in the 7 important areas of your firm. Why don't you tell everybody what that is?
Oh yeah, marketing, the 7 main parts of every successful law firm. Start with it, right? So I've been doing this since since August 24th, 1999, right? So depending on when someone watches this, they will either say, wow, he's kind of old, or he's really old, or wow, he looks really good for his age. This is all I've been doing since August 24th, 1999, right? Yeah. Remember Y2K? Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
So I started at the Florida Bar Law Office Management Assistant Service. My first day of duty was August 24th, 1999 with J.R. Phelps at the Florida Bar Lomas program. And I learned what my mentors had learned before me about the business of running a law firm, is that law firms love to think law firms are complicated businesses, and they're not. Compare the complexity of running a law firm to the complexity of running a restaurant, of running a moving company, to running a roofing repair company, to running a shoe store. Compare the complexity of running a law firm to the complexity of running virtually any other kind of business you can probably imagine. And law firms are ridiculously simple businesses to run. The problem, of course, is what did they teach us in law school about the business of running a law firm? They taught us nothing. And so you got a bunch of people who have never taken a single class in their entire life about the business of running a law firm, and their mentors have never taken a business class about the business of running a law firm. And so they think, oh, it must be complicated because I don't understand it, you know?
Right.
Anyway, point being, there's 7 main parts of every successful law firm. And these are the same 7 main parts of every struggling law firm. And the degree to which someone's paying attention to, managing, and making sure that these 7 main parts remain in alignment, kind of like a garden hose without a kink in it, that's the degree to which the law firm works for the owner. And to the extent that one or more of these 7 main parts are neglected, ignored, you don't even know they exist, or they're twisted around like a garden hose, like a big kink in it, that's the degree to which running your law firm makes your life suck. They're really simple. Marketing leads to sales, right? Sales leads to the need for production. Production leads to the need for people to do production. People need things. That's your physical plant. And if you do it all right, it ends up requiring you to do some financial controls. And ultimately, if you get the marketing lined up with the sales, and the sales lines up with the production, and the production lines up with the people, and the people line up with the financial controls, and it's all going smoothly, it dumps into your goals and serves you financially, personally, and professionally. And it's easy to understand this sequentially, but it really operates as a circle, right? Marketing would be 12 o'clock on the clock. And then sales would be, let's say, 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and then production, and then people, and then physical plant, and then financial controls. And it points back into marketing, and round and round and round it goes, all revolving around you in the middle. And if your mindset is messed up, your marketing is going to be messed up. And if your mindset is messed up, your sales are going to be messed up. Intake, by the way, is part of marketing, not part of sales.
Yeah. Okay. Well, wait a second now. So why don't you explain that for a second?
That intake is part of marketing, not sales?
Yeah, I just want you to, just explain, because I know everybody's going, so go ahead.
Okay, let's start off with marketing and sales are not the same thing. Marketing is everything that is done to cause a prospect to come to the right place at the right time, in the right frame of mind, pre-qualified and predisposed, ready, willing, and interested in hiring your firm. That is the job of marketing. That is part of the job of intake. Part of the job of intake is to pre-educate, pre-qualify, precondition, and make sure that the prospect is coming to the door ready to make a decision, or at least predisposed to want to make a decision, right? If your marketing is bad, you need great sales. If your marketing is good, you need good sales. If your marketing is fantastic, you could have like anyone doing sales, and you're still going to convert, right? But people don't get their ego strokes from great marketing. They get their ego strokes from the heroics of sales, right? So even if I do have to say so myself, I'm really good at sales. Like I'm really, really, really good at sales. Like I don't know hardly anyone who's better at sales than me. I know a few people, but not many. And yet I don't do sales.
Right.
Why? Because I am the best in the world at sales when I'm selling. But a mediocre, a good, reasonably well qualified, reasonably well trained salesperson will kick my ass every single day that I'm on vacation. Right? And I don't want to be there working, making sales every day. Right. I want to be on vacation.
Right. Exactly.
I want to be working on my business, not in my business. I want to be off launching other businesses and doing other things. I don't want to be getting my ego strokes by being the greatest sales guy in the world, right? So I worked really, really, really hard. And it didn't have to be so hard, but I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. But, I worked really hard and gave a lot of attention to building a really strong marketing machine so that I didn't have to be dependent upon or held hostage by amazing salespeople. And this is why, like I said, we manage about 600 small law firms around the country. Most of them use non-attorney salespeople to meet with the prospective client and convert the prospective client into a paying client. And the non-attorney salespeople are just cranking it out, cranking it
Right.
out,
Yeah.
cranking it out, cranking it out, because we've got the intake system that's working smoothly, right? Because the marketing is set up the right way to bring the right kind of prospective clients to the door. And the marketing is equally doing its job of protecting everyone from the wrong kinds of clients.
Right.
Or maybe it's a great client, but they have the wrong kind of case. Or maybe it's a great client with a great case, but it's the wrong time for the firm to be taking on this case. So
Or that client.
it's not the client's job to do your marketing and screen themselves out. Think about this for a minute, right? The client or the prospective client, they have a pressing problem. The pressing problem was pressing enough that it caused them to go searching for a solution. After searching for a solution, they contacted a law firm. They scheduled an appointment with the law firm. They said to their friends and family and coworkers and spouse and children and everyone else, I'm going to rearrange my whole schedule to go to this law firm in hopes. Cross my fingers. I'm hoping to go there and find a solution to my problem. And then they get there and the lawyer wastes their time telling the client a bunch of things that the client doesn't want to know, doesn't need to know, instead of focusing on what the client really needs to do, which is think through the client's own problem, right? And that's why I love what you're doing with intake, right? And I wish you worked with more people, but anyone who has a chance to work with you should work with you, because, what you do is amazing, because you plug all the holes in that bucket, right? And instead, what so many lawyers do is they just pour more money into the top of the bucket, and they wonder why they get from the well to the bathtub or whatever, and the bucket's empty, because they got all these holes in the bucket that you plug. So anyway, yes, intake is part of marketing, not part of sales.
Right. Okay.
So I'm sorry, I get worked up about this stuff.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I like it. That's good. It's important.
It's like you see it ruining people's lives. It ruins people's marriages. It ruins people's health. It ruins people's relationships with their children, because they're saying to their children, hey, I can't be at your game because I have to have a meeting with a completely unqualified stranger. It bothers me.
Yeah. And the thing is, you have to capture that immediately, because in addition to everything that you said about that whole path for that person, they've been thinking about doing something about this for a while. And whatever it was that happened that day that made them say, I'm done, I'm going to go, I'm going to make the appointment, I'm going to show up. That's just a moment in time. If you don't capture it right there when they come to you, they go somewhere else.
Look, no one wakes up and says, hey, Chris, you want to go out on my boat with me this afternoon? Or should we go see a bankruptcy lawyer?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more fun. Hey, Chris, you want to go, talk about some great books and talk about history and philosophy and all kinds of cool ideas? Or let's go see a personal injury lawyer to finally take care of that injury that we suffered 6 months ago. I mean, they're coming to you because they're looking to solve a problem. And your marketing is supposed to be something you do as a service to your prospective new clients. And the intake is supposed to be something you do as a service to show them the respect, to let them know if they should or shouldn't come see you. And if you think about it from the perspective of being something you do in service to your prospect, and from a place of respect for your prospect, and it's not just all about me and how much can I get.
Right.
The whole thing just works better, feels better. You can enroll your staff in it. Everyone can get on board with the mission. I feel like I'm talking too much, so I'm going to shut up and let you.
You're okay. No, yeah, 100%, 100%. But let's show everybody what's going on behind you. Explain it to them the way you did with me. Show them a little bit with the camera. Also, before I forget, what's your son's name?
My son's name is Taye Astuya. Tayeastuya.
Okay, because yeah. Okay, say the name again. Say his name again. Pronounce it.
Well, depends on whether I'm saying something like, Senor Astuya, put on your socks, get up, and get out the door. We're gonna be late for
Oh,
school.
I'd like to be there for
Or
that.
am I saying something like, Taye, come on over here. Let's go do something fun. Or Taye Astuya.
Hmm. I like I like both of them, I guess. It
Well, it all
depends.
depends on what he's doing that day.
Yeah, but why don't you tell everybody before you talk about the calendar, tell them how we got that name.
Okay, so yeah, so so it goes back to 1999. I start at the Florida bar as a small law firm management advisor with the Florida bar's law office management assistant service.
Hmm.
I'm like 27 years old at the time. Um, I spent the next 4 years working at Lomas, working with literally thousands and thousands and thousands. I mean, this is a documented fact in bar records that I had the opportunity to work with thousands of lawyers on every aspect of starting, marketing, managing, selling. There's no one alive today. Everyone who knew or had more experience with the business of running law firms and small law firms than me were my mentors, and unfortunately, they're all dead. So
Yeah.
I'm last person standing. No one's done this with more thousands and thousands of lawyers and law firms.
Hmm.
Um, blah 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 blah. Left the
Yeah.
Florida bar, and
Hmm.
my wife became very ill,
Yeah.
and because I had failed to follow my own really good advice about processes and systems and procedures and transforming your practice into a real business,
Hmm.
I had failed to create those systems that kept my business working for me even when I was taking care of my wife.
Right.
And so after 18 months of taking care of her, she's fully recovered now.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. Yeah. Hmm.
we went broke. We lost our house to foreclosure. Everything you read on my website is
Yeah.
completely 100% true, and it was even worse than I wrote about, because if I told everyone how bad it was, no one would believe me. They would
Right.
think I was exaggerating.
Exactly.
um
Yeah.
Truth is stranger than fiction.
Hmm.
So anyway, long story short, it's 2012. I was on the national CLE speaking tour as a speaker. Microsoft, LexisNexis, LawPay, Ruby Receptionist, a bunch of other, they sponsored the national CLE speaking tour. And I'm going around the country speaking to bar associations and law schools, to thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of more lawyers about how to build their businesses. And I'm just hearing like one sad, pathetic excuse, one lame excuse after the next, about what basically boiled down to is, I'd rather be broke than embarrassed,
Right.
right? They
Right.
were unwilling to do what had to be done. They'd rather be broke than look bad.
Hmm.
And anyway,
Yeah.
how to manage a small law firm, which by then was only a few years old, we finally were making enough money to buy some decent furniture, which
Yeah.
we went to IKEA, which should give you an idea of how broke we were.
Yeah.
And I was off the road for a week, and I was talking to Allie about, and I was basically just venting.
Ali is your wife.
Allie's my wife. Yeah,
Yes.
Alejandra.
I just want to make sure
Um,
everybody knows that.
and I was talking to her, and I was just basically venting. I was just like, I wish I could just grab these lawyers and shake them and say,
Yeah.
I mean, take all your excuses, just do this. It's so simple. It
Hmm.
works. This isn't rocket science, right? And so Allie is very brilliant and very creative, and she took a little pencil and jots down TAYEA, take all your excuses and shove them up your ass. And that became our rallying cry for years. Every time I had to go do something that scared me, which I had to do a lot of things that scared me, and every time I had to do something that was embarrassing and humiliating and you name it, right?
Right.
Because I was willing, I wanted to live an amazing life
Hmm.
more than I wanted people to like me or respect me or think highly of me. I wanted the results more than I wanted the accolades, right? So I was willing to do a lot of things. ethical, professional, legal, all that. Yes, 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 yes. But things
Right.
that weren't necessarily,
Yeah.
didn't make me always look good,
Right.
right? Long story short, when our son was born in 2015, which
Mm-hmm.
was 12, 13, 14, 15. So for 4 years, we used this as our rallying cry, Taye Estuya, Taye Estuya, Taye Estuya. So when our son was born,
Yeah.
we named him Taye Estuya.
Was
I
it,
mean,
was
I
it, was
take this
it,
seriously. This isn't like just
I know
like
you
a
do.
marketing gimmick, right?
Yeah, well, no, it's a thing for you and Allie. And was it Allie that said, let's do that, or was it you? I'm just curious.
Who said
Let's name our son that name. Who was it?
it was
Allie?
my idea, but I will admit it was my second choice because I originally tried to say, let's name him Robin because my last name is Robbins.
I want everybody to know that.
Okay.
Okay, so we're almost done. So what I'd like you to do is like we don't want to get off track and get excited anymore. Just go right to what's behind you with your calendars. Go for it. Okay? Yep, centered.
Okay. And I can give you a link for a full lesson with a workbook and everything to this whole lesson that you can share with
Yeah,
everyone
that'd be lovely. Yeah.
with my compliments.
For it.
Like a real detailed version of this lesson. So we were talking before so behind
Yeah,
me is my
yeah.
2015 calendar. Just for the record, it's still 2024,
Yeah.
right? And that's my
Mhm.
2025 calendar behind me. So I like to keep my calendar plan at least 12, ideally 18 months in advance at all times. What I found is that the further ahead that I plan, the more proactive I can be. Um, I can decide when I want to produce certain results in my life and then work my way back to
Yeah.
the cause that needs to be initiated that leads
Hmm.
to the result, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
People start off with a cause and then let the result show up whenever it does. I start off with when do I want the result to show up and then work my way back to the cause. And what
Hmm.
I find it's very humbling and very clarifying because when you do it that way, the first thing you figure out is I don't have enough time to do even half of my ideas. So I better be selective about which ones are going to move the needle the most. That's
Yeah.
number
Right.
one.
Yep.
Then I take all of my ideas and I do a big brain dump. The
Hmm.
night before I do this exercise, I do this every quarter. I just do a big brain dump, always on paper with a pen, never on a computer, because you
Yep.
need the
Yep.
hand
Hmm.
pen brain connection. And I
Yep.
literally just do a brain dump of everything that's on my mind, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
could be everything from I need to buy a couple of new pairs of sneakers because my sneakers are worn out, to here's this idea for a new book that I'm going to write, to here's this person I need to have a meeting with that's going to generate the next $1 million of revenue for me. Everything
Hmm.
goes on the list. It's just one big brain dump. And by the
Hmm.
way, I promise you, you will sleep so good that night. That's like the best night of sleep you get
Yeah.
after you do that brain dump.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Then you take everything on the list and you divide it into one of four categories. Things that are going to make me money,
Hmm.
typically marketing, sales, intake,
Hmm.
things that I have to do or things that have to get done so I can keep the money I already have, usually has to do with production, things so you don't have to give refunds and make apologies.
Right.
Things that I want to do that will bring me sanity, documenting processes, documenting systems, creating procedures, staff training, things like that. And then there's things that I want to do. That's like the fun stuff, right?
Hmm.
All
Hmm.
right. Now you've got this. So then you start making little projects for each of the things and figure out, and typically what you're only going to be able to do is probably 2 or 3 get money projects in a year, and
Hmm.
2 or 3 keep money projects in a year, and
Hmm.
2 or 3 keep sanity projects in a year. And if you can do 3 get money projects, 3 keep sanity projects, and 3 keep money projects, I mean, that's 9
That's
move
yeah.
the needle big thing. I mean, you could build a
Yeah.
multi-million-dollar business. I built a $30 million business just doing it like that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And then you do 1 or 2 want to do. Anyway, then you take your calendar, right?
Hmm.
And you start with a blank calendar on paper, on the wall, not digital. Got to be
Hmm.
on paper, got
Yep.
to be on the wall with
Hmm.
colored pencils and erasers. because you have to be able to sit back and see the patterns,
Right.
see the connections,
Yep.
right? And so you start off, there's a story about Bill Gates, and I don't know if this is a real story or not, but I mean, the story is real. I don't know if it really happened, but the story goes that Bill Gates went to a graduate school class teaching something about time maximization, time productivity, or whatever. And he went with a big glass pickle jar and he filled it with rocks. And he said, "Is this pickle jar full?" And they said, "Yes." And then he took out a thing of pebbles and he put the pebbles, shook it up, and the pebbles filled in the space between the rocks. And he said, "Is the pickle jar full?" "Yes." Then he took out some sand, dropped it in, and it filled in the space between the pebbles, between the rocks. And then he filled it with water, and then it was full. But if you try to fill it with water first, then you can't fit anything else into it, right? So think of your life like a big river. Okay, life is like this big river flowing to where you want to go. The first thing you got to do is you got to drop the boulders into the river. These are the non-negotiable boulders that get dropped in a year in advance, long before anyone has laid claim to any of your time, right? That's the kid's birthday.
Yeah.
That's the school vacations. That's the anniversary getaway. That's all of the after school activities that you want to be there for your children. This is the stuff that you're allegedly doing everything for. Well, if you're really doing this if you're doing everything for your family, put that in the calendar first. Those are the boulders that go in first, right? I'm going to pick up my computer and I'll give you a close-up, okay?
Yeah, I wanted you to do that. Yeah.
And by the way, this is 25, and on the wall opposite, I'm starting to plan into 26. So you see, starts off with no school.
Yeah.
World Culture Day at his school.
Yep.
Break. Spanish poetry. No school. Spring break. Spring musical. Gym show rehearsals. Summer break. My son's birthday party. His birthday. Family vacation. Cousins in town. Do you see that?
Yeah.
That goes down first in ink because it's not negotiable.
Right.
All right?
Right.
Those are the boulders. Then you drop in the rocks. The rocks are the infrastructure. The rocks are the systems, the procedures that give your business cadence, that give your business flow, that allows everyone on your team to operate in sync. This is the quarterly business review, quarterly business review, quarterly business review, quarterly business review. You see that?
Yes. Yep.
This is the all hands meeting, all hands meeting, all hands meeting, well, there's a palooza. These are the things that give structure to the business, right? Then you drop in the pebbles. The pebbles are all of the things. Can I put this down? You get it?
Yeah.
Right. Give me a second. Then you put the pebbles. The pebbles are all of the these are the initiatives, right? This is going to be launching a new marketing campaign. This is going to be re-engineering and revamping your intake system. This is going to be creating a new training program to train all of your paralegals, or whatever you're doing to make different parts of your business work better. Those are the pebbles, right? Those go in boulders, rocks, pebbles. Then goes the sand. The sand is all of the appointments that you want to keep to drive the business forward. And then the water is just it's just the never-ending list of people who want your time.
Yeah.
Right? And if you don't put the boulders and the rocks and the pebbles in first, the water will sweep it all away. And year after year after year, you're never going to get anywhere. And you feel like you're on a hamster wheel your whole life and you never make a profit. And the law firm drives you into the ground and you wonder how it happened. It happens day by day that you
Yeah.
don't take control, that's how it happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got a whole big lesson on this with
Yeah, no, I
templates.
think it's great. I think it's great. Well, are there any, let me just ask you this one question. I'm just looking at my notes here, everybody.
We gave a promise. So when we started, you
I was
asked me to
gonna
make
say,
some
yeah.
promises. We promised how to take your profits out of your business first.
Yep.
I did that. Read the
Yep.
book,
Yeah.
Profits First for Lawyers, go to the podcast, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And then you asked me, and then we said we were going to talk about how to get your business to work for you instead of you working for your business. That's
Yeah.
how you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You talk to I'm not going to say any, but most of the 600 law firms that we manage, they're doing this. We teach them to do this. We show them, we help them do this.
Yeah.
And you transform your relationship with your business from
Mhm.
one in which you work for your business into one in which your law firm works for you.
Perfect. Wonderful. Wonderful. Let me ask this. Do you have any last words that you want to say to everybody? Like anything you want to say to them before we say so long?
At the risk of saying something that's too salesy,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
What you do is so important. Like if more lawyers understood the significance of the intake portion of their business,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably, I would say, maybe the third or fourth most important part of the entire business.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it gets the least attention, right? Statute of limitations, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Financial controls, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking intake. I mean, intake is next but instead what they do is they want to chase all these shiny objects with all this fancy schmancy marketing and AI marketing and this marketing and that marketing. And let's just pour all this money into marketing. Meanwhile, there's a giant hole in the bottom of your bucket, but they get excited with the marketing. And listen, we teach sales. We teach sales really well. But I'm telling you, don't bother taking a sales course until you fix the bottom of the bucket, because why make it harder than it has to be? So anyway, you didn't ask me to say that, but I just really believe in what you do, and I want more people to take it more seriously.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we fix intake and we fix sales and we fix mindsets.
Fixing intake fixes sales.
Exactly. Yeah. Anything else that you want to say to anybody before we say so long?
I could talk for hours and hours. I could talk for 20 plus years and counting about this stuff.
Yeah. It is great fun for folks like us and for everybody that's watching today. So maybe we'll just do this again sometime. How's that sound, RJon? Good?
I'd love to have you back, and I hope to see you as my guest at a live quarterly meeting soon.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. So long. Lawyers Tell All. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Lawyers Tell All, where Chris Mullins takes you on a journey with lawyers in the trenches who show you the realities of what it takes to succeed in this chaotic, crowded, ever-changing profession. Remember to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on Lawyers Tell All.